True power often lies not in the words spoken, but in the control that keeps them unspoken. In a world where most people rush to express every thought, every irritation, and every surge of emotion, the one who can remain still becomes a rare force. Silence in the face of provocation is not the silence of weakness. It is the silence of a mind that knows its worth. It is a refusal to let the chaos of the outside world dictate the rhythm of the inner world. Reaction is instinct. Anyone can do it. It takes no thought, no discipline, and no vision to react in the heat of the moment. But to remain composed when every nerve is demanding you to lash out, that is mastery. It is the mark of someone who has learned to lead themselves before attempting to lead anything else. When you react instantly to every situation, you allow external forces to pull the strings of your life. Your mood becomes the puppet of circumstances, the expressions of others, the mistakes of others, the noise of the environment. All of it starts dictating your state of being. But the one who has learned to hold back, to observe, and to respond with intention has taken back the most valuable possession anyone can own, their power over themselves. The discipline of not reacting instantly is like armor that shields the mind from unnecessary battles. It is not that you ignore the world, but that you refuse to give your energy to things that do not serve your growth. There is a quiet strength in stillness. It allows you to see more, hear more, and understand more than those caught in the turbulence of impulsive emotions. In that stillness, you gain clarity. You see the motives behind words. You see the truth behind actions. And you realize that most situations are not worth the price of your peace. The noise around you may try to provoke a quick reaction, but each time you pause, you reclaim the throne of your own mind. This is where real strength begins, when you stop allowing the world to pull you into its chaos and instead remain rooted in your own center. Many mistake silence for surrender, but in reality, silence is a shield. It gives you time to think, to choose the most effective action rather than the loudest one. It denies your opponent the satisfaction of controlling your emotions. It frustrates those who thrive on chaos because they cannot pull you into their game. Your calmness becomes an unshakable wall they cannot climb, and over time they learn that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated or provoked. This is the kind of strength that commands respect without demanding it. You do not need to raise your voice to be heard. You do not need to fight every battle to prove you can win. Your mere presence, your control, your refusal to react recklessly, all of these become signals of inner power. And people feel it, even if they cannot explain why. They know they are standing in front of someone who is not ruled by impulses, but by purpose. The true test of this strength comes not when life is calm, but when it is turbulent. Anyone can appear composed when nothing is at stake. But when pressure builds, when challenges rise, and when others expect you to break, this is when the choice not to react becomes a weapon. Every moment you hold your ground instead of exploding is a moment you prove that you are stronger than the situation. You are not a slave to emotion, you are its master. And this mastery is not just a skill, it is a way of life. It means you decide how your energy is spent, how your time is invested, and how your future is shaped. The power of not reacting is the power to protect your mind from being hijacked and your path from being derailed. It is the power that separates those who are led by the world from those who lead themselves. Unchecked emotions are like invisible chains. They do not rattle or clank, but they bind you tighter than any physical rope. Anger, fear, envy, and resentment are not just feelings. They are forces that quietly control decisions, alter behavior, and distort reality. You may believe you are acting out of logic, but when emotions are in control, logic becomes their servant. These chains work slowly, without warning. One moment of anger can poison an entire day. 1 hour of fear can hold back years of progress. One deep seed of resentment can turn dreams into dust. The most dangerous thing about these emotional chains is that most people never realize they are wearing them. They move through life believing they are free while being dragged by forces they never learned to master. When you are ruled by uncontrolled emotions, the world becomes your master. Every insult becomes a command to lose focus. Every fear becomes a reason to retreat. Every frustration becomes an excuse to quit. Life starts to feel unpredictable, not because circumstances are truly chaotic, but because your inner world has no anchor. Imagine a ship without a rudder. It goes wherever the wind and waves push it. This is the reality of a person driven by emotional impulses. They are always reacting, never creating. They are always defending, never building. And as long as they live in this state, their potential remains locked away, unreachable. Breaking these chains requires more than simple willpower. It requires awareness. You cannot control what you do not first see. You must learn to recognize when emotions are trying to hijack your decisions. You must step back and ask, is this feeling guiding me toward my goal or pulling me away from it? That single question is like a key. It unlocks the first link in the chain. With practice, you begin to notice the patterns, how certain words trigger anger, how certain situations awaken fear, how certain memories stir resentment. Once you see the chains, you can choose not to wear them. And when you finally free yourself, you discover a truth that changes everything. Emotions are not meant to be your master. They are meant to be your tools. They should serve your vision, not destroy it. There exists a silent and powerful space between what happens to you and what you choose to do about it. This space is so small that most people don't even notice it exists. But within it lies the difference between a life controlled by impulse and a life guided by wisdom. Something happens, a word, an event, a challenge, and in an instant the mind begins to react. But in that instant, before words are spoken or actions are taken, there is a pause. That pause is the golden moment. It is the place where you can decide if you will give away your control or keep it. It is where you can choose whether you will feed chaos or create order. The world tries to rush you through this space, to push you into instant reaction, but the more you learn to slow it down, the more power you gain over your life. This moment between stimulus and response is the birthplace of clarity. When you allow yourself to dwell in that space, even for a few breaths, you are giving your higher mind the chance to step forward. Instead of being driven by the raw surge of emotion, you are guided by reason, intention, and purpose. You begin to see that not every insult requires a reply, not every challenge requires immediate confrontation, and not every problem requires emotional fire. Most people live in constant reaction mode, never realizing they are giving away control over their destiny one moment at a time. But the person who stretches that pause, who learns to sit in that stillness without rushing to act, gains a tremendous advantage in every situation. The longer you live in that space, the more deliberate your life becomes. You stop being a puppet to other people's actions and start becoming the author of your own. You choose your battles with precision. You speak with intention. You act when the time is right, not when emotions demand it. This is how leaders are made. Not by reacting to everything life throws at them, but by standing in that pause long enough to decide what truly matters. In that moment of choice, you are no longer a prisoner of instinct. You are the master of your mind and therefore the master of your future. A reaction is more than just a response. It is a transfer of power. Every time you react without thought, you hand over control of your mind, your energy, and your focus to someone or something outside of you. The moment your emotions are dictated by another person's actions, you are no longer in charge of your inner world. You may feel justified, you may feel like you are standing up for yourself, but in truth, you are letting another person decide how you feel and what you do. This is the subtle trap of reactivity. It feels like strength, but it is actually surrender. The more you react, the more you give others the ability to manipulate you, often without you realizing it. Your peace is one of your most valuable assets, but the reactive mind gives it away cheaply. A careless comment, a small inconvenience, a fleeting frustration, these tiny triggers can hijack your mood for hours or even days. When you allow that to happen, you are not living in freedom. You are living on a leash that anyone can pull. People who know how to provoke you have power over you, and the world is full of such people. The only way to protect your energy from being stolen is to stop making it so easy for others to take it. This does not mean becoming numb or indifferent. It means developing the strength to remain centered even when the world tries to pull you off balance. A disciplined mind refuses to be a puppet to external chaos. It recognizes that reacting in the heat of the moment rarely leads to good outcomes. Instead, it chooses to respond with intention, or sometimes not at all. This is not weakness, it is strategic control. By staying calm, you keep your vision clear. By not reacting instantly, you maintain the ability to think, to plan, to act with purpose rather than emotion. Over time, this makes you unshakable. You stop wasting energy on meaningless conflicts, and you direct your focus toward the battles that truly matter. And when you do act, your actions carry more weight because they come from strength, not from impulse. Emotional control is not just a moral virtue, it is a neurological advantage. The human brain has two main operating systems when it comes to decision-making. The first is the primitive survival-driven mind that reacts instantly to threats or discomfort. It is fast, emotional, and impulsive. This part of the brain once kept humans alive in dangerous environments, but in modern life it often becomes the source of poor choices, unnecessary conflict, and self-sabotage. The second is the higher, logical mind, capable of long-term thinking, strategy, and vision. This part of the brain is where true leadership, creativity, and problem-solving are born. The difference between living as a reactor and living as a creator comes down to which part of the brain you allow to take control in crucial moments. When you react emotionally, the primitive brain hijacks the decision-making process. It shuts down the logical mind and floods your system with adrenaline and stress hormones. Your body prepares for a fight or escape even when no physical threat exists. In this state, your ability to see the bigger picture disappears. You make choices that may feel satisfying in the moment but damage your goals in the long run. This is why people say things they regret, make reckless decisions, or walk away from opportunities when they are angry, fearful, or overwhelmed. Emotional reactions might feel like taking control, but in reality, they are moments when you surrender control to your most primal instincts. Self-mastery begins when you learn to pause and give the higher brain time to step forward. This is why emotional discipline is so powerful. It allows you to keep the thinking, strategic part of your mind online, even in high-pressure situations. You begin to evaluate instead of explode. You analyze instead of attack. You respond instead of react. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes, until emotional control is not just something you do, it's who you are. And when you live from this higher state of mind, you become unstoppable, because nothing external can easily pull you away from your purpose. Your actions are no longer driven by the chaos of the moment, but by the clarity of your vision. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood strengths a person can develop. Many confuse it with indifference, assuming that to be detached is to stop caring. But true detachment is the opposite. It is caring deeply without being enslaved by the emotional turbulence of the moment. It is the ability to see clearly when others are blinded by impulses. It is the choice to stay rooted in your values and vision, no matter how strong the winds of chaos blow around you. When you are detached, you still feel emotion, but you are not consumed by it. You still hear the noise of the world, but you do not let it drown out your inner voice. This is what makes detachment so powerful. It allows you to act with wisdom while others act with haste. Detachment creates space between you and the problem. In that space, you can see the truth more clearly. You can separate fact from assumption, reality from perception. Most conflicts escalate because people are too close to their emotions to see beyond them. They take every challenge as a personal attack, every disagreement as a threat to their identity. Detachment frees you from that trap. It allows you to step back and see the bigger picture, to understand the situation without letting it control you. This doesn't mean you withdraw from life. It means you approach it with a level head and a steady heart. The stronger your detachment, the less likely you are to be manipulated, provoked, or distracted from your goals. The beauty of detachment is that it transforms decision-making. When you are no longer a prisoner of immediate emotions, you can make choices based on your highest priorities instead of temporary feelings. You stop wasting energy on battles that don't matter. You stop chasing validation from people who add no value to your journey. You stop letting momentary discomforts dictate your long-term path. Detachment is not about building walls around your heart. It is about strengthening your foundation so that no storm can shake you. When you reach this state, you no longer live as a reaction to the world. You live as a deliberate creator of your own reality. And that is a level of control very few ever achieve. When mastered, emotions are not your enemy. They are your fuel. Anger, when uncontrolled, can destroy relationships and cloud judgment, but when harnessed, it becomes an unstoppable drive to take action and create change. Fear, left unchecked, can paralyze you, but when redirected, it sharpens your focus and heightens your awareness. Even sadness, often seen as a weakness, can deepen your understanding of life, increasing your empathy and your capacity to connect with others on a profound level. The key is not to eliminate emotion, but to transform it. Just as fire can burn down a house or warm it, your emotions can either destroy or build, depending on how you use them. The process of turning emotion into energy begins with awareness. Most people allow their emotions to dictate their behavior without ever questioning the direction they are being pulled. They feel angry and immediately lash out. They feel fear and instantly retreat. But the one who masters emotional transformation does not let the feeling decide the action. Instead, they pause, identify the energy behind the emotion, and then channel it toward a productive purpose. If anger arises, they might pour it into their work, using it to push through challenges. If fear appears, they might use it to prepare more thoroughly, sharpening their strategy. In this way, every emotion, no matter how intense, becomes a stepping stone toward their goal, rather than an obstacle in the path. This level of mastery requires discipline and training. You must be willing to catch yourself in the moment, to stop before reacting, and to ask, how can this feeling serve me instead of control me? At first, it will feel unnatural. The pull of immediate reaction is strong. But with practice, your mind learns a new pattern, one where emotions are signals, not commands. Eventually, this becomes second nature. Your anger no longer pushes you into conflict. It fuels your progress. Your fear no longer stops you. It prepares you. Your sadness no longer drowns you. It deepens you. And when you reach this stage, you become someone who is no longer at the mercy of emotion, but someone who has turned every feeling into a source of power. That is when emotions become your greatest ally on the road to success. Patience is not simply waiting. It is power held in reserve. Most people think patience is passive, something you practice only when you have no choice but to endure. In reality, true patience is a weapon. It is knowing you could act, but choosing not to until the moment is right. It is understanding that not every battle needs to be fought immediately, and not every challenge demands instant reaction. Patience allows you to remain in control when others are pressured into mistakes. It lets you hold your position when the world is pushing you to move before you are ready. And in that restraint lies enormous strength, because time often reveals what impulse tries to hide. Strategic patience is different from simple waiting. Waiting is often filled with frustration, anxiety, and wasted energy. Strategic patience is deliberate and purposeful. It is active stillness, where every moment is spent observing, calculating, and preparing. You are not doing nothing. You are building strength in silence. While others rush into situations unprepared, you are gathering information, refining your plan, and ensuring that when you make your move, it is decisive. This is the patience of a mind that knows the value of timing. Striking too soon can ruin an opportunity. Striking too late can cause it to vanish. Strategic patience ensures you strike at the exact moment when success is most likely. The world is constantly trying to push you into haste. Society rewards speed, praises instant responses, and pressures people into decisions without reflection. But haste is the enemy of wisdom. Those who act without timing often burn out, waste energy, or destroy what they were trying to build. The strongest people are not always the fastest movers. They are the ones who know when to act and when to wait. They understand that inaction at the wrong time is weakness, but inaction at the right time is strength. Strategic patience means you do not allow external forces to dictate your pace. You set the rhythm of your own life. And when you do act, it is with such precision and power that the results speak far louder than any impulsive move ever could. A mind that cannot be shaken by provocation becomes a fortress, strong, impenetrable, and unyielding. But such a mind is not built overnight. It is constructed through deliberate discipline, brick by brick, decision by decision. Every time you resist the urge to react, you place another stone in its walls. Every time you choose to think instead of lash out, you reinforce its foundation. Over time, this fortress becomes unbreakable, not because you are immune to emotions, but because you have trained yourself to rise above them. You are no longer at the mercy of every challenge or every word spoken against you. You are protected by your own inner strength. This fortress is built through constant awareness. You cannot defend your mind if you do not notice when it is being attacked. Distractions, negativity, criticism, all of these are like arrows aimed at your peace. The reactive mind lets them in, allowing them to wound and weaken. The disciplined mind lets them hit the walls and fall harmlessly to the ground. This is why mental discipline is a daily practice. You are not just building protection for today. You are preparing for every challenge that will come in the future. The more you train, the less you are disturbed by outside forces. Situations that once triggered you lose their power. People who once frustrated you can no longer reach you. Within this unshakable mind, only the thoughts you allow can shape your reality. The noise of the world becomes distant, and your focus sharpens. You begin to see that most of the chaos people live in is self-inflicted. They let every word, every event, and every opinion dictate how they feel. But you have chosen differently. You have decided that your mind is your territory, and no one enters without permission. This is not coldness, it is strength. It is the understanding that peace is too valuable to give away for free. And once you live in this fortress, life changes, not because the storms stop coming, but because they can no longer shake the ground you stand on. Control over your emotions does more than protect your peace. It radiates outward, affecting everyone around you. People are naturally drawn to calmness because it signals stability, strength, and clarity. When you remain composed under pressure, others instinctively feel safe in your presence. Your energy becomes a quiet force, influencing those around you without a single word. People notice it, even if they cannot articulate why. Your steadiness becomes a subtle form of leadership. By not reacting impulsively, you set a standard that others unconsciously follow, teaching by example rather than instruction. The ripple effect of composure is profound. In a chaotic environment, one calm individual can shift the tone of an entire group. Emotions are contagious, and just as fear spreads quickly, so does serenity. Your ability to maintain control creates a space where reason and logic can flourish. Conflicts de-escalate, tensions ease, and decisions are made more clearly. This ripple effect does not just influence the immediate moment, it can change the course of relationships, negotiations, and outcomes. People begin to trust you because they know your decisions are not driven by fleeting feelings, but by careful thought. By mastering emotional control, you become a stabilizing force in a world that thrives on reaction. Many are constantly reacting, feeding the cycle of chaos, misunderstanding, and unnecessary conflict. You, however, stand apart. You are the lighthouse in the storm, unmoved by waves of provocation. Others may try to draw you into their emotional battles, but you have learned the strength of restraint. Your calmness does not signify weakness or detachment from reality. It is a sign of extraordinary power. Those who cannot control themselves may try to provoke you, but they will eventually realize that you cannot be manipulated. Your composure is not only your shield, it is your influence, your presence, and your leadership distilled into the simplest, most powerful form. Extraordinary success is rarely achieved by those who react impulsively. Those who reach the highest levels of achievement have one trait in common: emotional discipline. When opportunities arise, they are not blindsided by doubt, fear, or anger. They are calm, clear, and ready to act with precision. Success favors those who can remain unshaken, who can think strategically while others are lost in the storm of emotion. Every decision is made from a place of control, not chaos. This ability to manage emotional responses ensures that energy is directed toward creating, building, and achieving rather than being wasted on fleeting distractions and unnecessary conflicts. The connection between emotional control and success becomes even clearer when considering how opportunities appear. Those who react without thought often miss subtle signs, fail to recognize patterns, or burn bridges in moments of impulsivity. They let fear stop them, let anger guide them, and let doubt paralyze them. In contrast, a mind trained in restraint sees possibilities where others see obstacles. It can evaluate situations with clarity, assess risks accurately, and act decisively when the moment is right. Emotional discipline allows the successful to navigate complex challenges without being derailed by temporary setbacks or provocations. They move through life like a calm river, powerful beneath the surface, unstoppable because they are not easily diverted. Furthermore, emotional control builds credibility. People respect those who maintain composure under pressure. Decisions made in anger or fear are often regretted, undermining authority and respect. But decisions made with patience, clarity, and emotional balance earn trust, loyalty, and admiration. The more you demonstrate this control, the more others are drawn to collaborate with you, follow your vision, or seek your guidance. Emotional mastery does not only create success in personal endeavors, it multiplies it by influencing the people and opportunities around you. The calmer you are internally, the more effectively you can act externally, making emotional control one of the most powerful predictors of sustained achievement and fulfillment. Emotional control is not something you are born with. It is trained, nurtured, and strengthened over time. The mind is like a muscle. The more you exercise restraint and deliberate pause, the stronger it becomes. Training yourself to pause before reacting, to question every impulse, and to observe your feelings without immediately acting on them rewires your brain for mastery. Each small decision to act with intention rather than instinct builds neural pathways that make emotional control automatic. Over time, what once required effort becomes second nature, and the disciplined response becomes your default mode of operation rather than the exception. The process of training the mind requires constant vigilance. You must catch yourself in the moment, notice the surge of emotion, and consciously decide how to respond. At first, this can feel unnatural. Your impulses will fight back, urging you to lash out, to defend, or to flee. This is the test of mastery, the ability to endure discomfort, to hold still while the mind screams for immediate release. With practice, you begin to notice patterns, which triggers provoke anger, which situations ignite fear, and which interactions tempt impulsive reactions. Awareness alone is powerful. Once you can predict and identify the triggers, you can neutralize them before they take control. Eventually, emotional control becomes more than a skill. It becomes a lifestyle. You stop being pulled in 100 directions by fleeting feelings. You no longer waste energy reacting to trivial provocations. Instead, you channel your emotional energy toward your vision, your goals, and your personal growth. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to practice. Every provocation a chance to strengthen your inner discipline. Your mind, once reactive, now acts like a precision instrument, measuring, analyzing, and responding only when action serves a meaningful purpose. This is how mastery over emotions translates into mastery over life. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You shape circumstance to align with your will. The world will always test you. Life will present challenges, provocations, and pressures designed to break your composure. People will push your buttons. Circumstances will try to overwhelm you, and unexpected events will threaten to derail your progress. But the one who has mastered emotional control does not need the world to be calm in order to remain at peace. True mastery lies not in changing external circumstances, but in reigning over your inner world. When your mind, your thoughts, and your emotions bow to no one, you have claimed the ultimate victory. No storm outside can shake the calm you have cultivated within. Mastery of the self is the highest form of freedom. Those who react impulsively are constantly enslaved by forces outside their control, others' words, others' actions, and the chaos of the moment. But those who pause, observe, and respond with intention are free. They are free to choose their path, free to act in alignment with their vision, and free to protect their energy from unnecessary battles. This freedom allows for clarity, focus, and relentless pursuit of purpose. Every decision, every interaction, every opportunity is filtered through the lens of deliberate choice rather than reactive emotion. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the architect of your destiny. Living as the master of your inner world transforms every aspect of life. Relationships, work, and personal goals all improve because you are no longer ruled by temporary feelings. You see clearly, act wisely, and navigate challenges with precision. Your presence commands respect without force. Your calmness influences others without words. And your decisions carry weight because they are rooted in control rather than impulse. Emotional mastery is not just a skill, it is a way of life. And those who achieve it experience a power that few ever truly understand, the ability to remain unshakable, unstoppable, and fully in command of their own destiny.